Java greatly depends on the use of inheritance to manage the relationship between different classes, and the Reflection API gives you tools that let you walk up the inheritance tree. Once you have an object that you have a reference to, you can walk up to its superclass and to its superclass all the way up to the top-level class object. I'll show you how to do this in the project named Walk Inheritance. In this version of the project, I have the Olive class. The Olive class doesn't have an extends keyword, and so therefore by default it extends object. And then I have three subclasses, Kalamata, Ligurio, and Picoline. And each of these classes extends the Olive class. So we have essentially a three-level inheritance tree. Picoline, Kalamata, and Ligurio are siblings. They share a superclass of Olive, and Olive has a superclass of object. I'll go back to the main class and to the main method. And I'll start my coding by creating an instance of the Ligurio class, but I'm not going to be specific about its type. I'm going to generically identify it as an object. I'll start with the data type of object with the variable name of O, and I'll instantiate it with new and then Ligurio, the constructor method for the Ligurio class. Now I'll get the class reference for that object. I'll start with the class. I'll make sure I have the import for that. And as I've been doing, I'll use a question mark to indicate that I don't know what the class is. I'll name this class simply C, and I'll get its reference from O for the object, .getClass. Then I'll do a system out, then I'll output a label of class name, and I'll append to that C.getName. I'll save my changes and run the code, and over here in the console, I see that I get the class name of Ligurio, including the complete package. I'll come back to the code, and now I want to walk up to the superclass of the first class. I'll create another class object, and I'll call this one Soup for superclass. I won't use the word super, that's a reserved keyword in Java. And I'll get its reference from C.getSuperclass. Then I'll copy and paste my system out. I'll change the label to supername and the object from which I'm calling getName from C to SUP for super. I'm missing an equals operator in the middle there. I'll fix that and then run the code. And then in the console, I see that the class name is Ligurio and the superclass name is Olive. Now I'm ready to walk up the tree a little bit further. I'll take these two lines of code. I'll copy and paste them. I'll change the name of this class object from SUP to top. I'll change the object that I'm calling getSuperclass from C to SUP, and then I'll change the label to topName and the object from which I'm calling getName to top. I'll run the code again, and now I'm walking all the way from Ligurio up to Olive and from Olive all the way to object. If you have a very deep inheritance tree, you can keep on executing the getSuperclass method, walking up the tree until you get to object. And object will always be at the top of the tree. Now you might be wondering, can I go in the other direction? Can I start with a class that's a superclass and walk down the tree to all of its subclasses? And the answer is no. The reason is because the nature of Java is that all of those subclasses might be packaged within a jar file, but if they're not used in the application, they might not be available in memory. You can always walk up the inheritance tree, but you can't easily walk down. But I will show one more trick while I'm in this code. If you're starting from a class and you want to find out its package, there's a class for that too. I'll move the cursor underneath all of this other code, and I'll declare a new object data typed as package. Package is a member of java.lang. It's not explicitly a part of the Reflection API. I'll name this variable P, and I'll assign it starting with C and then getPackage. And then I'll system out, and I'll output a label of package, and I'll append to that p.getName. I'll save and run the code, and now I see my inheritance hierarchy and the package down at the bottom. So I encourage you to explore the Reflection API in more detail. It'll give you the ability to interrogate existing objects, find out what their classes are, find out about the inheritance tree, what the superclasses are, and also find out where a class is stored when necessary. You might find the Reflection API isn't needed in your particular application, but if you ever do need to use it, you'll find all the tools available that let you walk the Java architecture very dynamically.